Oh, that was fast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Divine Women in Women. It usually takes like 10 seconds almost to go live, but that was almost immediate.
Yeah, so, I was not ready for that.
No. But welcome. We are back to our usual. Diana left us for a week, 10 days?
Roughly a week, about 8 days.
For France. Oh, we're sorry. So we're very happy to have her back. We're going to have a little bit of a show and tell this evening for all the goodies that she brought back.
Yes, especially because I haven't read the book yet.
Well, okay. So our book of the month is A Girl Like You by Michelle Cox. And I haven't really done much this week because...
Understandable given what you're dealing with.
Yeah, I'll tell that story in a minute. But this is the book, A Girl Like You. This is what's left of my copy after River got a hold of it. So I could have ordered a new copy off of Amazon, but I decided I wanted to support. Oh yeah, and both of my kids are still awake. Wanted to support local businesses and go back to my favorite used bookstore, but I'm on day 4 of the stomach flu, not me, Landon, and this is what I get for doing laundry ahead of schedule. I did all my laundry Saturday and thought, oh hey, I'm done for the week. Usually I do it Monday. No. And yeah, go play in the other room, please. And it's been a whole lot. To give an idea of my day, started at 3 o'clock this morning when Landon threw up on me for the 4th day in a row. So it's been really fun. I am looking forward to escaping for an hour to talk about France and French wine and books and drinking wine. So that's my life.
Wine is necessary for you, honey, after the week that you have had. It's just not fair.
It's been a very long week.
Yes. And then you have the friend like me who has no idea how to deal with kids and is like, so can't you train Landon not to barf on you?
I wish I could. I really like.
Hopefully that gave you a good laugh.
At least Lily got it on Monday. I had both of them. Seriously.
Yeah, that's my new nickname for him, is the little exorcist. Hi, Lily.
Can you say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
So, but the other morning yesterday morning? Yeah, yesterday. He climbed into our bed at 3, and at 3:30 I changed his diaper, and I was cuddling with him and being all cute, and I thought, okay, it's like 3:30, I'm going to try to go back to sleep for however long he'll let me. I rolled over, and I had my back to him, and no sooner did I stop moving from that roll. It was all in my hair, down my back, the bedspread, the comfort.
I mean, the positive thing you could take away from this is that at least you rolled over, so it was all over your back and your hair and not your face.
Thank God. Like, that's really the only thing I could take away from that.
Yeah.
But then he's super cute when he's not sick, and his thing right now is he's obsessed with cars, like the movie Cars, Lightning McQueen. And, you know, Lightning McQueen says ka-chow, so he learned how to say ka-chow.
Ka-chow.
Ka-chow. That's right, man.
What?
Yeah, I see cars. So how was France?
France was amazing. It was so amazing that I'm already itching to go back. I think we were there for maybe 24 hours, and I was like, I want to go back. I want to come back. I already know we have to make another vacation here. And for us to go to the same place twice is unusual because there's so many places that we want to see. But this one is definitely going to be one that I'm going to have to go back to. And you know, the French have, in a lot of ways, they gain this stereotype of being rude. And they really aren't rude people. They were some of the nicest people in the world. And so it was funny, one of the things that Ryan and I laughed about was that when we went to the shop and sold alcohol, they were like, you want to taste? And it was just like randomly, you want to taste? And we're like, okay. And we figured out they kept saying you want to taste so that I can drink on the job with you. And
I'm making a
like,
sale.
okay, these are my people. Huh?
I am making a sale.
Exactly. This is part of my duty to make money for my company. I have to day drink. But yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, we skipped the Louvre and we went to the Musée d'Orsay. And of course, I got to see Van Gogh and all my other favorite impressionists. And then we went to the Cluny Museum, which has the unicorn and the lady tapestries.
Oh,
Postcard for
there. You did?
I did.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Ryan really wanted to get a like tapestry. They had like this pillowcase tapestry. He wanted to get one, and it was like framed. And I just kept looking at it, and the face was wrong. And I was like, it just feels like we could get this anywhere. And lo and behold, we ended up somewhere in Alsace, and there was one right there. Just like it. But like when I was there, I never grasped how huge these were. They're like sealing the floor. That's how big they are.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and also consider the fact that this was made during a time when we didn't have the modern scenery that we have.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were like a type of like insulation almost to keep the castles warm, right? They would hang up the tapestries. Excuse me, we're not fighting right now. Sorry. We're not fighting right now, just letting you know.
No, we're not fighting right now. We're not allowed to fight right now. This is our happy time. Wine, Women, and Words is happy time.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right, Lily.
Good job.
So, after I felt like I didn't get enough time in the evening, and we got to go play, of course, in the evening, and then had the whole day, and then the second day was pretty much just, which I got to go to Café de Flore and to Les Deux Margots, which, if any of you are fans of The Lost Generation or anything to do with The Lost Generation, you recognize these names because those were the hangouts for The Lost Generation.
I basically didn't even really post anything on Instagram while you were there because I was just like loving all the posts that I saw. That was my like living vicariously through you.
I didn't post as much on Wine, Women, and Words. I tried to post like stuff that like fit with our theme. And then I posted like all my vacation pictures on my Instagram. And my sister was funny because as we're walking around Paris, she's like, you can post multiple photos at one time on a post for Instagram. You know that, right? And I was like, yeah, I know that. She goes, okay, good. You should do that because my whole feed is nothing but your trip. And I know what's going on your trip because I am here.
That's funny. But people don't always like scroll through all the posts when you do multiple pictures in one.
Exactly. And I wanted everybody to see all the wonderful pictures. So yeah, we ended up doing Café Flore for dinner. Because we were coming back from the Eiffel Tower at night. And of course, talk about.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna see if I can transfer them to the living room.
No, you.
Lily, can you play in the living room, please? Come on. Bring your cars. Play on the train table.
Bye, Lily.
Good job. Thank you. Have fun. Play nicely. Share. Don't hit.
Don't kill each other. Don't poke out any eyes. Don't break any limbs. You know the rules.
Don't come back here. This is supposed to be my happy hour.
Kids ruin that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we did cafe. We were coming back from the Eiffel Tower, which we had this plan. Right? Talk about plans. You know, this wasn't quite as bad as you like rolling over and then getting vomited on. Plan or like your laundry and then all this vomit. But the plan was we were going to go up the Eiffel Tower at dusk. And we were going to watch the sunset from the Eiffel Tower and enjoy champagne from the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Uh-huh.
And we went up on Sunday night. And, you know, it's overcast. And you don't think about, like, the height of the Eiffel Tower when you're at the base. You really don't. They're way the hell up there. And so we go up. And we're riding the elevator, this massive elevator that we're crammed into like sardines, up to the the middle level, and we get out, and it's just really pretty views and stuff. And we're like, okay, let's book it. We got to get up to the top so we can see the sunset. Top, and it is a wall of fog. I kid you not, like pea soup fog that you can't see through at the very top of the Eiffel Tower. And like the wind started blowing and it was freezing and I wanted to be able to drink champagne at the top of the Eiffel Tower. So I got us all champagne and the wind is blowing so strong that it's creating champagne bubbles in my flute. And it's blowing such champagne bubbles everywhere from the flute. And my sister and I are like huddled in the corner drinking our champagne.
Now, do they sell champagne at the top, or did you like have to bring it up yourself?
Yeah, you could buy it by the glass at the top.
Go other room. Go that room. Thank you.
And so we had to like wait for like the clouds to pass so we could see a view. Ryan could get some photos, and then we ended up like it was freezing, so we ended up having to go down to the second level to get any decent photos. And the killer thing is you pay extra to go to the very top.
Really?
Yeah, it's like $17 versus $11, but still.
Well, that's depressing.
Yes, it is. And then, but then we ended up going to the Alsace region, which I want to say Alsace, but I think that's wrong. I believe it's Alsace.
Yeah, I know I've heard it pronounced both ways. Like Alsace, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, it's basically spelled A-L-C-A-S-E, for those of you who aren't know. And I just fell in love. I fell in love with the whole region. That's where like all my beautiful landscape photos are. Oh, somebody's back.
Yeah, that worked out.
So one of the things that was really interesting about the area, going back to our wine. But before we go, I got to go to Shakespeare and Company.
Yeah, I saw that post.
There. Yes, it was. They don't let you take pictures inside.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's disappointing.
I know. I wanted to get a picture of me browsing books, and my sister was like, "Oh, they don't let you take pictures inside." I'm like, oh, crap. But I went inside and went straight for the Lost Generation section. They had like a whole book for that, and I got a copy of the Dubliners.
What did you get?
The Dubliners by James Joyce. And even cooler, they stamped the book saying where it's from.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that cool? So yes, I got that. And then from the Eiffel Tower for the cheesy things you can buy at the Eiffel Tower gift shop because you can get tons of cheesy stuff there. Brandy and an Eiffel Tower glass. I don't give a shit about the brandy. I just want the glass, the bottle. And it's the shape of the Eiffel Tower.
Have you tried it yet? Is it good?
I don't know. We haven't tried it yet, but apparently it's a good brand of brandy. I don't know. Brandy makes me cranky.
I've never actually tried brandy.
It's good with like peaches. Like peaches.
Try again, Lily.
Okay. I'll bring you into the French mode, and into France. You could be in France with me.
My God.
So, if you guys notice, I'm drinking out of this wine glass, green stem, little top, and if you could see closely, it's got a stork etched on it, because storks are a major thing there, because the stork is there, and they love all things the stork. And it's the stem is green because apparently during the Roman times they used to do the color of glass based on the region. And so that region in France had the green glass. And then it's got, if you notice, it's got the smaller shape.
Mm-hmm.
That's because it's designed specifically for the wines of the region.
Interesting.
Which the main wines of the region are the Pinot Gris and okay, I'm gonna try it because I pronounce it awful every time. Gewürztraminer.
I don't even think I could pronounce it any better right now.
And this is with practice. And then also the Rieslings were popular there. And Moscato, unfortunately. They had some Moscatos too. They had the sweeter wines, which apparently, I apparently am turning into the wine nerd in this relationship. So the reason why we have the sweeter wines in that region is because of the soil content.
Isn't it crazy how like the tiniest things can play such a big factor in like the flavor of wine?
Yeah, it absolutely does.
I did an interview of a winery out here in Chicago. It was like one of the 2 functioning wineries that actually have their own vineyards and produce their own wines on site. And they have they bring in genetically altered grapes to grow that are like engineered to survive the Chicago winters or the Midwestern winters. And it's the same thing, like the soil and that influences the flavors. Mm-hmm. And then but they also like genetically engineer the grapes to what they want it to be. Like, you can do that? Can you genetically engineer my kids to go to sleep at 8 o'clock every night?
If only. But yeah, you know what the big ripoff though was?
What?
You're only allowed to bring a liter of alcohol back with you.
Really?
Yeah, that's the rule from France. Otherwise, you get taxed on it. Which, thankfully, we had a customs agent who really didn't give a crap. Because I mean, technically, I had 4 bottles of alcohol. 2 bottles of wine, and because I drank one there. Because I bought 3. And my sister gave me half a bottle, and then we had that brandy, which really comes together as like 1 bottle. And then whiskey. Ryan bought some whiskey for himself, which gotta please the husband. And so, and I also had another bottle of alcohol, completely forgot about. So I mean, technically I had 5, but I told him 4, and he was like, "Okay, why'd you declare that? But all right, here you go."
Now, how many bottles to a liter? Just to give us an idea.
This is 750 milliliters.
Okay.
So that's like, I don't think that's a full.
Like almost a liter?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, metric system sucks.
Yeah. When I lived over there and I had to like learn centimeters and meters, I'm like, can we just like give me a C and like
just call it a day?
Yeah, right? Like just let me float. So
the wines that I brought back, I drank a Pinot Gris there, which I did not know this. Did you know this? That Pinot Gris and Pinot Grigio are the same thing?
I did, just because it's gray in different languages. Yeah. So I assumed.
Yeah. Well, of course. And I was like, I went to the wine bar. I was like, I'm looking for Pinot Gris. And he brings me over to the Pinot Grigio, and I kind of look at the guy, and he's like, They're the same thing. It just depends on what side of the border you're on.
Well, at least he was nice about it. I feel like that was an opportunity for a wine snob to be like,
this is Total Wine and More. This is Total Wine and More. We don't have wine snobs.
I thought that was in France.
No, this was here because I stopped at Total Wine and More this afternoon to pick up a bottle of Pinot Gris to drink out of this glass, because this glass that I've got is designed for that. So I actually picked up this Pinot Grigio. It's called Prophecy. That's actually got this really cool label.
I've had that one before. I like it.
Yeah, so I got that because it's meant to be drunk out of this, because you get more of the florals and things. And then I got a Gewürztraminer from Summit Estates in Washington State. I'm not a big fan of this one because it's quite sweet, but I got a cookbook, the Alsatian cookbook, because everything in my house now is all French food. And they have a recipe in here that calls for Gewürztraminer to be used in it. So I'm like, I gotta get the wine now. The wines that I did bring back, we have the Insolente, which is, it's Bec Domaine de Rempart. And this was from a little place which I discovered as a B&B. So Michelle, when we go to France, because I plan on going back and, I'm thinking in 13 years for the 50th, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we could do this.
Maybe or we could do maybe the 5-year anniversary for Wine, Women, and Words.
I love the way you think. Go spend some more time in Paris and then go do a girls' wine tour. And the Alsatian.
Let's see, Landon will be 7, Lily will be almost 9. They'll be fine without me for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
What, did they stay with grandma, or the fact that they're going to be that old?
The fact that they're going to be that old. Landon is turning 2 on Sunday.
Oh, that's right.
In 3 days.
Oh.
Look at this face. How could this face be turning 2?
I don't know, but those are some cheeks that need to be pinched.
I know.
Those little apple cheeks. So, the Bec wine, which is really cool about this wine, is that it's from, it's a noble wine. I had to look up the term. Because this wine requires mold in order to be able to be.
Lily, I don't know if this banana is good yet. Put it back in the fridge. If you need mold for that wine,
yes,
did you say
grapes actually have to have a mold grow on them, and then they take that mold and the grape and they make the wine out of the combination of the two.
How do they get the health bad stuff?
Well, it's more like I'm sure it's more like a fungus, like a mushroom. But I'm sure when you're, and when you're going through the wine thing, it's because when you make the wine, the grape itself gets filtered out. So I'm sure the fungus gets filtered out, and I'm sure there's a process. And it's alcohol. Alcohol cleanses everything.
Also true.
Yeah, so we don't have to worry about that.
I'm asking complicated questions, and I shouldn't be.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things I learned in France is, who cares?
It's wine. It's fine.
Yeah, when it comes to things like crossing the street, when you're supposed to or not, or when health code regulations, it's fine. I learned that one a lot.
Yeah, I can't. I have this weird, I don't know what it is. I have this really weird phobia of crossing streets. I cannot jaywalk to save my life. I have to cross the street in a crosswalk. So I feel like I would not do well over there.
Well, they would cross in crosswalks, but they would not wait for the light to actually change. So they would look both ways to see if a car was coming. And if the car was far enough away in their judgment, they would walk, whether you had the right of way or not.
I feel like New Yorkers do that too, right?
Mommy, yes.
Yeah, and like I found in like other cities, like in Sydney and a lot of areas of Australia, they would anticipate the change, so people would start to walk just before the change happened.
True.
So that would happen in some of the cities that we've been to. But yeah, they took that to the extreme in France.
What were the taxi drivers like?
You know, the taxi driver we had, because we only took one taxi. And that was from the airport to our hotel in Paris. And that was because I wasn't familiar enough. I was overwhelmed by their subway system. They've got a great subway system, but it's really complicated, kind of like New York. And I was overwhelmed by it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took the taxi from the airport to the hotel. And I started talking. He assumed I spoke like fluent French, which obviously I do not. I only speak a little bit of French. According to Duolingo, I'm at 56%. That's debatable. And I was trying to get the hang of it, and sometimes I would use Spanish instead. So I said Trey. I said Trace instead of Trey, and he's like, what? What's that? And I was like, oh, toi. Sorry, toi.
Wrong language. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, so then he starts teaching me French, because we had like an hour cab ride from the airport to the hotel. So he starts teaching me French, and then he offers Ryan a beer, because apparently he likes to keep beers in there, just, relax, take the edge off. So he offered Ryan a beer, and Ryan was like, it's okay. But yeah, the whole way there, he's giving me French lessons. So the taxi cab driver was really nice. But when we went to the Alsace, we actually drove. We rented a car. Yeah, and my soon-to-be brother-in-law was the one who did the primary driving. Ryan was supposed to do a good chunk of driving too, but he freaked out a little bit in the city in Strasbourg.
Really?
Yeah, he got really confused and really nervous. And the one time he was driving, he made my sister panic. And my sister was like, pull over, I'm going to drive. And so, yeah, she made him pull over, and she drove to Germany and back. So, yeah, and then I ended up the next morning, the day after Beer Fest in Germany, Ryan woke up still drunk. And I, who am not a beer drinker and only had a little bit of beer, was fine. And so I had to drive with a license. Like, my license had to go up for renewal over my birthday, which was over the vacation. So I had gotten it renewed, but I hadn't gotten the actual license. So I didn't think I would be okay enough to drive, like legally to drive. I wasn't sure about this. So I had like the renewal signature thing, like paper with me. So yeah, and at 4:30 in the morning, the day that we were leaving, I had to drive us to the train station because my husband was still drunk. So, yeah, driving was interesting.
Were there a lot of roundabouts? I remember when I when I lived there, my dad like freaked out over roundabouts, or that might have been in England.
They had roundabouts, more roundabouts than they did I would say equal roundabouts and intersections. Like in Paris, it was all intersections. And then like in the smaller cities, you had roundabouts.
Okay. So I know you read The Paris Wife, right? The Paris Wife or those?
I did. That was fantastic. Oh, before we get into that, I do have one more alcohol to go into.
Okay.
Because in Germany and in France, to help with your digestive ails, you drink liqueur. So and you gotta love any culture that does that, really. So liqueur dépend des espèces. So basically, it's gingerbread. It is amazing and fantastic, and you drink it like a shot of it, like when you've had like too much to eat and you need to like help digestion. It's really good. When we went into our cheese restaurant for my birthday, like that was like all cheese, like a cheese lover's dream, and
that looked amazing.
Oh my god, it was. Yeah, we had that when we got home. And I was like, if we come across some of this, I need a bottle because it's that good.
By the way, I'm posting little clips of our Every on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So if I'm making weird faces, that's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay, lovely.
Because look.
Oh, he's falling asleep. My stories are that boring. Yes. So the next time you actually go to sleep, I could talk about like my travel stuff.
Oh, we just talk about wine and cheese and all these things that he doesn't appreciate because he doesn't like cheese right now, which makes me kind of question whether or not he's actually my son a little bit.
That's wrong. Maybe it's just not. He just hasn't found the right cheese. What cheese have you been feeding him?
Well, I mean, Lily loves Colby Jack cheese sticks. And I get like the good cheese sticks, the Sargento cheese sticks, and those are like $5 for a 12-pack. And I tried the Market Pantry ones from Target once, like the mozzarella, and that, like, I love Target. And Market Pantry usually pulls through for me most of the time.
You gotta have top level.
But that was like, it didn't even taste like cheese. Like I couldn't even finish a cheese stick. But
maybe it's just a type of cheese. Maybe you should try him on some cheddar. Maybe he's got to have finer tastes for his cheese, like Gruyere, Brie, provolone.
He has a more refined palate.
Yes, he has a refined palate for a 2-year-old.
Oh, he's not 2 yet. Although for our daycare, we have it's called the CDC, but it's the Child Development Center, not the Center for Disease Control.
So some people might find it to be the same thing.
True story. Oh my gosh. But they do a daycare thing for, full-time daycare, but they also do hourly drop-in care. So if you need like a couple hours to go do something, you can drop your kids off for a couple hours. And I just discovered that they only have 2 slots a day for hourly drop-in, like period. Not like per class, not per age. So I realized that him turning 2 kind of works against me because he's going to be in the same class as Lily now.
Oh,
so I'm like, he's 1, right? I had to make an appointment for them for next week because I have to go do an interview. And even though technically he will be 2 by next week, he's still 1 right now. So I was not lying when I said that he was 1.
Yeah, that totally counts. Yeah.
I may have just misunderstood what they meant.
I understood you just fine. I think you have a very valid point.
And anyway, whatever. I don't care.
Exactly. So you're beginning to ask me about my books that I read?
I am. I'm very curious about The Paris Wife because I see it like blowing up on Instagram right now.
Yeah, it's funny. It came out a few years ago and it's blowing up all over again. It's a good book. Oh, my dog just decided to jump on the laptop. See, your kids are misbehaving. Mine are misbehaving too. Yeah. Hi, Lilo.
Hi, Lilo.
So basically, it's if you've read A Movable Feast, and I actually recommend reading A Movable Feast before The Paris Wife, which is what I did. It was technically the last book that Hemingway ever wrote, and he wrote about his first wife Hadley, and he wrote about her in such a loving manner, like, it was almost remorseful for the fact that he didn't stay with her. And he made her the heroine, really, of that book. And The Paris Wife basically takes Hadley's story from the time of just before she meets Ernest through through her time in Paris with him. And it was.
So are we not as mad at Hemingway as we were a few months ago?
Not as mad at him as I was, but he was totally a womanizer. He definitely had that going for him. In a lot of ways, I kind of feel for him as a person. I mean, he had a crazy ass mother, and he was an alcoholic, and I think he had a number of issues that he couldn't fully process. I think it was one of the tragedies of that generation.
What is,
And there were a
okay,
number of-
so I know I probably shouldn't admit this, being that I love reading and all, but I mean, I've never been like a big fan of the classics, just in general. For someone who's never read Hemingway, what's a good Hemingway book to start with?
Well, The Old Man and the Sea is very, very short, and it's a good one. I love The Sun also, or Farewell to Arms, I'm sorry. Yeah, that was the one where he was overseas. Farewell to Arms, I really enjoyed that. I read that one in college. But nothing beats his short stories. His short stories are the best.
I forget if it's Tender is the Night, or I think it's Tender is the Night is the one that I haven't read yet.
That's Great Gatsby, or not Great Gatsby.
Or then no, that I have a Hemingway book and I forget which one it is. I have to check. But maybe did Hemingway write The Sun Also Rises?
Yes.
Okay, that's the one that I have then.
I think that's his other really big one. Those are his two major hits. Farewell to Arms, I think he actually gave the rights of that to Hadley.
Really?
I can't remember. He gave one of his rights to, in the book they talk about, in Paris Wife, they talk about how one of the books she ended up getting the rights to it. And it's like to be able to take care of her and Bumby, their son.
Well, that was nice.
So, I mean, he wasn't like cruel about it. He just happened to have fallen in love with somebody else.
I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Z has like painted a very poor picture of Hemingway, and I forgot, and I think it's going to take a while for me to not.
It took me a while too, but and what's fascinating too is that in A Movable Feast, he does not paint a good picture of the Fitzgeralds.
Really?
Yeah, he did not. The two, he and Zelda, you can tell by his writing and by Zelda's writing, or Zelda's stuff, they hated each other. That is evident. He referred to her as, in Movable Feast, as having hawk eyes, and just these hawk eyes that were just really
beady,
piercing, and beady and mean and just crazy. He thought she was pure craziness.
Well, he may not have been like too far off the mark, but he meant it in a bad way.
Yeah, exactly. I would say read a couple of the other books. Like maybe, have you read Great Gatsby yet?
Yeah, I think that's like the only one that I have read.
Yeah, I would say read Great Gatsby. Maybe pick up Paris Wife before one of his books. Like the short stories, my favorite short story of his is Hills of like White Elephants.
Okay. I remember talking about that.
Yeah, that was my favorite of his short stories. And apparently they alluded to it in the book, but the woman in that was Hadley.
Oh, okay. Well, a lot of them based characters on each other and like didn't really make a secret out of it.
Yeah, like Tender as the Night is supposed to be about the Murphys in the very beginning of it.
I would have loved to just like, if I could time travel for like 24 hours, I would break it up into like 6 4-hour increments in different places.
Man, if I had a TARDIS, if I got to travel around the Doctor, I'd be like, screw space. I want to go see all the past. We're going to go to the 1920s.
I have no interest in space. Like, why? I mean,
it's fascinating. I mean, I'm sure if the Doctor said, let's go take a trip to another planet just to break up some of the monotony of the history stuff, I'd be like, okay, I'm not going to argue. Because, I mean, the Doctor.
trust him and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's what's his face? The 11th Doctor.
David
Tennant. Yeah, especially if it's David Tennant. If he says we're just gonna go to this planet that's like got dragons breathing fire and you're gonna most likely die, I'd be like, okay. Because
whatever you say.
Yeah. I will follow you to the ends of the earth.
Well, oh damn it, what was it? So today I'm working on a story about a hotel in this area which is a very famous hotel apparently, called the Mineola Hotel, and it's like it was built in the late 1800s, and I researched prepping for like interviews and stuff. I was researching the Chicago Tribune archives, and because they have all their archives online and you can date back like hundreds of years, or I guess 100 and whatever. And I was reading all these articles about raids that happened for illegal gambling and illegal drinking, and but it just kind of like brought me back into that mindset of your adventure in Paris. But it also reminds me a lot of the Hotel del Coronado in San Diego. It's like totally kind of what it looks like, just on a lake instead of a beach.
Nice.
But I had like visions of like writers and artists and, well, okay, we're in Chicago, so gangsters and
and writers
and politicians and business moguls going up there to gamble and drink and mingle. Kind of the same thing, not as artistic and beautiful and poetic as yours. So
yeah, but I mean, and that's I think what brought a lot of people to France is the fact that they could go there because they could still drink and it was cheap.
And it was Paris. And who wouldn't want to go?
Exactly. I mean, I'm already trying to talk the husband into going. I've already looked up what it takes to get a visa. I talked to my brother-in-law and sister about what it takes to get a visa, and I've already looked into what it takes to like immigrate with the dogs. I'm all set. I can pack my bags tomorrow.
So when you move, you will have a room designated for me, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll be right in the Alsace. Well, it'll be a designated Michelle shrine for when you come and visit.
Right next to the wine room. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Actually, no, I'm going to put you on the other side of the house from the wine room, because if I put you right next to the wine room, I'm going to wake up in the morning and there won't be any more wine.
I'll just be passed out in the wine room, cuddling with a really good bottle of wine.
Exactly, hugging a bottle of wine like it's a teddy bear.
So I have to ask, was Scotty Doesn't Know sung at all during your trip? Because I didn't see the video.
Damn it, we forgot. We're awful people. We forgot, but when we were in the went to the museum, there would say we were quoting for there's stuff from them for going to the Louvre. We were quoting that. Ryan was doing the robot scene from. We're talking about Eurotrip, by the way, for those of you who don't know. So yeah, he was quoting that, and we were quoting other bits from the movie. And then of course, every time my brother-in-law got lost or had to go around around a roundabout, he heard, "Hey, look, kids, Big Ben, Parliament," from National Lampoon's European Vacation.
I always say, well, I don't always say, but every now and then a situation will arise where I go, this isn't where I parked my car. And no one gets it.
I know, and that's such a great line.
They take me literally, like, no, your car is over there. I'm like, stop. You don't understand.
Oh, or I'll do my baby takes a morning train, just randomly, and like do the to root for the Manchester United greatest football team ever, Holylow. Yeah.
I'm posting a video of Scotty Doesn't Know on Ryan's page, and I am writing fail in capital letters. And you can tell him what I mean.
Oh, I'm sure he knows what you mean. Because we did not sing it and we didn't put a video. Because you're not the only one of our friends who's all, Scotty doesn't know. Because, like, you and I have the Scotty doesn't know. And he's got the, Scotty doesn't know with you. But when he was in Afghanistan, the second time around, he was actually there with a friend of his. And they go out randomly. And on the wall, I should say the random part was on the wall, was written, spray painted on, Scotty doesn't know.
In Afghanistan?
That's
interesting.
Yeah, so the two of them are all about Scotty doesn't know.
And the backstory to that, boys and girls, a long time ago, back when Michelle was only 22, 23.
And Diana was a size 8.
We all gathered at Diana and Ryan's house to watch Star Wars.
Because we thought we could have a movie party and actually watch a movie.
And we did not.
Because what movie had you not watched at the time?
Star Wars. I said to watch Star Wars.
Ah.
And although Star Wars was on, we just didn't watch it. And we proceeded to drink apple corn, which I have never had since that night.
Really? You need to get some, because that's some good stuff, especially after you've stuck it in the freezer for a while and it gets the little crystals. Okay, sorry, go on.
And then we watched Eurotrip. And by that time, we were all highly intoxicated. And there is a picture on Facebook of Ryan and I mid-dance on the floor, going like this, dancing to Scotty Doesn't Know.
Yeah.
And that became like the theme song.
To us.
That's
if Michelle and I were
you
to
know
ever get
why.
married, it would be our song together would be Scotty Doesn't Know.
Mm-hmm. True story. Fascinating. I know, and totally relevant to a literary podcast. But we haven't talked in like a week, you guys. Okay, we've like messaged a little bit on Facebook Messenger, but nowhere near.
I didn't get any of my messages while I was over there. Or at least I could get messages, but if I sent messages back to you, I would get charged for them. And I was already getting a lot of charges because I wanted to have unlimited data because I wanted to be able to post all my pictures.
Yeah, we did that. Rich got like an international package when he was deployed, but we didn't do that the first place that he made port. And holy cow, was our phone bill ridiculous that first month.
I believe it. See, now what I did was, because we had a layover I did the international package, and it was like $10 a day, and I got the same plan that I had with Verizon. And what they did was, they're like, as soon as you land in the foreign country, go and turn on your global data settings. So, I'm sorry, global data roaming. And we did that once we landed in London, even though the bulk of our trip was in France. And we were covered while we were in London, even though we were just hanging out at the London airport. And then, and it covered us for when we were in Germany too, so we didn't have extra charges.
Oh, that's smart. So have you begun, now that we have like 10 minutes left in the show, have you begun reading? It's a really pretty cover, you guys, and next week I'll have a prettier copy because tomorrow I'm going to go buy my new one. And it was signed. It was signed. This was a signed copy.
Oh, River.
I know.
I have not. I should. I need to. I got to the point where I was reading with the Rules of Magic, and I was trying to finish that one up. And I got to a point where it was really good. I'm like 74, 75% way through on that one. So I was trying to finish that up before I started this one. But for those of you who'd like to do e-readers or are broke, A Girl Like You is available for 99 cents on Kindle. So I went to order the paperback, and I saw it was 99 cents on Kindle. And I was like, well, screw the paperback. I'm going to get Kindle.
Well, it's really interesting, and I'm maybe about a quarter of the way through. So I'm right on schedule for me. And And what I think is really interesting about this book, and we will get into it when Michelle comes on the show, but I've had the opportunity I interviewed her for the newspaper, and then we kind of became friends after that. So we meet maybe once a month and have coffee and talk about books and writing and stuff. But the main character of this book was based on an actual person. So all of the jobs that Henrietta has, this woman did. So she was like everything that she talks about, being a 26 girl and being a taxi dancer and being an usherette and basically like a strip club from the 30s, was all real. And I just think it's really interesting to read about the types of jobs that there were for women during, or, you know, trying to survive the Great Depression.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you are really going to like Detective Clive Howard, I think is his name. He's the inspector. It's a murder mystery. So, and he's kind of, I'm really interested to do fantasy casting for this guy because I picture him like very broad-shouldered and tall, and he doesn't know that he's handsome. Like, he knows that he's good-looking, but he doesn't know that he's handsome. And I kind of picture like a Ben Affleck-ish person, but not Ben Affleck.
Luke Evans?
Who?
Luke Evans? He played Gaston in Beauty and the Beast?
No. He might be like a little too slick. We need someone slick because he's a detective in the 30s in Chicago, but not like, not suave. Like,
oh, or like maybe like Chris Evans, Captain America?
a little more, like, I have a very specific image in mind, but I don't know.
I'll have to read the book and figure it out.
I don't know who I'm thinking of, but a little more rugged than Chris Evans. Like maybe Mark Ruffalo-ish.
Oh, I like that idea. I've always had a little bit of a crush on Mark Ruffalo. I think
love him. I fell in love with him in 13 Going on 30.
Yes. Oh, and then he did another movie that I absolutely love called Just Like Heaven with Reese Witherspoon.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh, I love that movie. That's like a Halloween like chick flick movie for me.
I just watched this little like Facebook video thing about Reese Witherspoon, and that was included in it. I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that movie.
Such a cute movie.
And then of course he's the Hulk, and he's perfect as the Hulk.
Perfect Hulk. I mean, really, you can't find an actor who's more perfect for that, because he's got that sensitive, nice guy, laid back, completely opposite of the Hulk personality, and then he's the effing Hulk.
So has everyone just agreed that we're just going to pretend that the Edward Norton Hulk never happened?
I would say so.
Okay.
I choose to believe that. I choose to live in a world where that Hulk did not happen. And one day we will have a decent Hulk movie.
With Mark Ruffalo.
Yes, because Mark Ruffalo is in it, we will have a decent one. All the fangirls are at least going to go see it.
I had no idea that there would be so many Thor movies, but apparently there's a new one coming out with Mark Ruffalo and the Hulk in it.
And our boy Tom is in it too.
Oh yeah. Loki's in it, so.
Yeah, that's the benefit of having all these Thor movies, is that we have Tom,
who is no longer with. That old news, but thank God.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But I just love him as Loki. He makes a fantastic Loki.
He's a perfect Loki.
So there's this amazing movie called The Only Lovers Left Alive. And he's in it with Tilda Swinton. It's on Amazon. You can rent it. And it's basically about these two very, very old vampires. And it's a beautiful movie. But one of the things I absolutely love about it is he's just plays this like bad boy, dirty, sexy vampire. And Tilda has these powers that superpowers I just would love. She could take she's really into books, and like her home where she's at is just covered in all these old books in various languages. And she could just take her finger along the book and just soak it in and read it. She's like a vampire bookworm. And she could touch something and tell you how old it is.
That's goals right there.
Right? Right? I'm like, dude, if I can get those powers and be a vampire, maybe. You know what? You just might sell me on it.
Stay young forever. Hoard books.
Yeah, man. I could possibly, you know.
Yeah. I could stay 32 forever. I mean, if we're like picking ages, I would have been okay with like 28 forever, maybe.
I'm going to stay 37 forever, I've determined. Actually, no. I determined last year I was going to stay 36. I am 36 yet again this year.
Oh, well, happy re-36th birthday.
Thank you.
I have not decided. I think I might stop counting at 33.
Yeah. Stopping counting in your 30s, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah.
Because the 30s are great. They really are. They're better than your 20s.
I feel like I really kind of wasted my 20s a little bit. Like,
I think most people did.
I had a blast in my 20s, and obviously like my late 20s were good. But my early 20s, I was just like in my own world. But I guess most people are in their own world in their early 20s.
Yeah, I feel like my 20s in a lot of ways are wasted. Like, I mean, I met Ryan right when I was 20. So, I mean, I can't say that was wasted. And we got married when I was like 22, 23. I was 23. Yeah, 23 when we got married.
Really?
Yeah. We got married young. We're relatively young. Huh?
I said you did get married young. I had no idea.
Yeah.
It didn't click.
Yeah, but I think the benefit of that was that we were goofballs together.
True.
And we just basically just screwed around together and were irresponsible together.
There you go.
So, I mean, we had that going for us. But I think...
Young love.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would change if I went back in my 20s was to read more classics and get into historical fiction sooner rather than later.
True. I don't know what I would change. Because honestly, like, if you change anything, then you wouldn't be, like, butterfly effect, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I guess they weren't wasted because they brought us to here, to Wine Women Awards. Look at how deep philosophical conversation here.
Right? This is what happens when you drink enough wine and you end up thinking and talking philosophically.
Deep philosophical thoughts.
I'm not ready for this today. No.
Well, we are at our hour. We have a special guest next week. You may know her. She's been on the show twice before.
This will be third time.
Third time. She loves us so much that she's willing to come back a third time and hang out with us. And we love her so much that we would have her every week if she wanted to.
Well, the reality is that I asked her to come on. It's Julie from Julie K. Rose from Dida's Crown. Huh?
I was saying her book, Dida's Crown.
Yeah. But Julie's day job is raising money for charities. And for those of you who may not know, California is basically one big bonfire right now. So she is going to, her focus right now is in Northern California, which is of particular interest to Wine Women Awards because our favorite beverages come out of Northern California. And
I did see that Christina checked herself in safe during the fires. I was going to message her and see if she was doing okay, and then she checked in, so I know she's okay. So,
yeah, some of our other authors that we've talked to in the past, I know Erin's doing okay. Oh, she's over in Davis. They're not really. I don't know how badly they're hit there. She's got a goat farm there. So yeah, I mean, it's as much as I'd like to joke about our favorite beverages being from there. This is also people's livelihoods, their farms. This is, I don't know if it's just before or just after the harvest, so it may ruin their crops for the year. Fuck, wine barrels are made of wood, so it could devastate. It could potentially devastate people. I know the California Wine Club that we were promoting there for a while and being a part of with the discounts. They focus on California wineries, and so far they sent a message today actually saying that they've heard from a number of wineries and the people are okay.
Oh, thank God.
So,
it's
yeah.
scary. I had no idea how big those fires were until like everything kind of hit the fan.
Mhm. Yeah, it was like all of a sudden it was like, okay, there's a fire, and out here in California you hear, okay, there's a fire. It's like, okay, there's a fire. It'll, they'll clear it up, and it won't be that bad. And next thing you know, whole neighborhoods are being burned down.
Anaheim got evacuated. Like Layla and Sada's parents got evacuated in Orange.
Is their home okay? Because I know they're over in that area.
Yeah, they're okay.
Well, a number of my friends got evacuated. They're over in the Tustin area, areas that you don't seem to think out here that would get hit with fires. They were getting evacuated. I work over by the beach, and I come out of work, and all of a sudden it's just orange smoke everywhere. And ash was floating down on us.
Mm.
So
Julie is raising money for the people who lost their homes up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so she's got a number of charities that she's going to be talking about next week with us.
Well, however we can help, we are definitely ready to do so. So next week should be a good episode.
Yeah, and I mean, you just have to think about it. You take, how much money do we spend on wine a week?
Yeah, we can skip that extra bottle and instead help someone.
Yes, so that we can have future wine later on down the road. Give back to the area that gives us so many great wines.
True story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that I think is it for the evening. But thank you everyone for joining us and listening to our crazy babble this evening. And have a good evening. Keep reading. It'll look pretty next week. But keep reading A Girl Like You.
Yes.
There.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Bye.